The Creative Grid Square It Up and Fussy Cut Ruler comes in a variety of sizes. The squares are available in 6.5 inch, which finishes 6, 8.5 inch, which finishes 8, 9.5 inch to finish 9, 12.5, 14.5, and 16.5 inch sizes. What makes these rulers special is that they have horizontal and vertical lines and diagonal lines that are easy to see. There is a 1/4 inch seam allowance around the entire outside edge of the ruler. There are holes drilled at the 1/2 inch points, which adds a 1/4 inch seam allowance to the solid squares. So there are solid squares printed at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 inch increments on the smaller ones, going up to 16 inches if you're on the larger squares. And the holes are drilled every 1/2 inch, which adds a 1/4 inch to each side of the square. I use this ruler to fussy cut. In this particular case, it is a placemat. I needed a 6.5 inch square for the center of my placemat, so I placed this ruler over the fabric, centered my design underneath it, and cut the fabric out so it was 6.5 inch square for the center of this design. In other cases, I use these rulers to square up completed blocks. This is an applique block that I have made. The background fabric was cut to 17.5 inches, but the finished size of this square is actually 16.5. So I will lay my ruler on there, put the diagonal lines through the corners of the square, and then I can rotary cut around it, and I'm going to have my design centered exactly in the 16.5 inch square. In other cases, I use this ruler to fussy cut a block. In this particular case, I was making a t-shirt quilt, and the t-shirt that I wanted to cut was 12.5 inches. So I centered the design within the 12 inch square, marked the fabric with the blue water-soluble markers through the holes that were at the corners, which added a 1/4 inch on each side. And when I connected those dots and cut it out, I had a 12 inch finished t-shirt centered in the middle of my 16.5 inch block. Excuse me. So then I laid this ruler, I made the sashings larger, laid this on top, and trimmed all the blocks down to 16.5 inches.